Your inner struggle against lust and sexual urges is not a weakness, but a sacred path. This silent struggle is in reality a profound encounter between you and the spiritual power within. Every time you decide to resist a temptation, you are not simply repressing a passing desire. You are unleashing an invisible authority, an inner force that the material world cannot see or fully understand. This sacred space is not just about self-mastery. It is a quest, a divine fire, a sacred burden that you must bear. If you are watching this video, it is because you feel this truth deep within yourself. You are destined for more than mediocrity. This inner tension, this feeling of not belonging, this tug of war between the underworld and a higher dimension is heaven's call, a call to a journey to a higher spiritual realm. Let's be clear, 90 days without sex or masturbation is not a mere challenge, but an inner rebirth. When a man chooses celibacy, he becomes a sacred receptacle for a powerful, timeless, and wild energy. What happens after those 90 days often exceeds all expectations, disrupts habits, and transforms the being. This message is for all those who are ready and feel chosen by this inner voice. If this word resonates with you, if this quest appeals to you, you already know who you are. I invite you to manifest your spiritual alignment. Like, subscribe to continue this journey together, and leave the number 99 in the comments. The number of the culmination of the cycle that ends to make way for your destiny. You may have learned that energy is limited to matter, metabolism, and movement, but the spiritual truth is much deeper. By choosing abstinence, you not only protect your body, but you also awaken a spiritual energy, an invisible force. It's a subtle awakening, almost imperceptible. One morning you feel more alive, more present. As you walk into a room, your appearance changes, not because you impose yourself, but because you embody it. The transformation continues. Your voice sharpens, your posture changes, your gait becomes more measured, shaped by gravity, not by an oppressive weight, but by a silent force. Your energy stops scattering and focuses within you. This creates a deep magnetic aura that silently touches you. Your seed is not just a biological substance. It is a sacred receptacle, a receptacle of intelligence, heritage, identity, and power. Every time you inadvertently scatter it, a part of you dissolves into the void. But when you grasp it, you rise above your desires. Your nervous system regains balance, your mind calms, and your soul begins to radiate with a special radiance. It is not a blinding light, but a spiritual heaviness, an invisible gravity. Others perceive this presence. Your words have power, your silence has impact, and your A becomes unmistakable. Whether you are a woman or a man, many will not understand this energy that does not shout, does not beg, does not impose anything. It is simply there. And in this immaculate space, in this perfectly preserved essence, you begin to remember not what the world expected of you, but what heaven whispered to you, a being called to walk with authority and dignity, to be the master of your destiny. And therein lies the depth. It truly reveals itself. This energy not only changes how others perceive you, but also what you attract into your life. Souls with hidden agendas will suddenly feel exposed by your luminous presence. Unexpected opportunities will present themselves to you, not because you were looking for them, but because your inner current has become too powerful to ignore. Abstinence, in its most sacred form, is a forgotten weapon, an ancient art. It transforms the fragile human being into an indestructible pillar. It anchors the mind to reveal visions. It transforms distractions into clear direction. But beware, this transformation is an inner fire that sometimes burns painfully. You will feel the impulse grow like a flame. Your body will resist. Your mind will search for a way out, because what you are undertaking is unusual, courageous, revolutionary. You are breaking with a system designed to keep you submissive, unresponsive, and spiritually asleep. But if you persevere and remain firmly anchored, one day the temptation will lose its power and take over. On that day, you will no longer need to express your essence. It will speak for itself with strength and clarity. But this is only the beginning. For as your strength grows, the trials will intensify. At this stage, many, even the chosen ones, are prisoners not of external shadows, but of their own strength. What follows will determine whether you escape the old cycle or fall back into it. Let's talk about it. There's a deeper reason why so many men feel lost today. Even those who seem strong and confident feel lost. It's neither laziness nor defeat, but a veil of pain, an invisible fog that clouds their minds. Lust is like the smoke that lingers after a sacred fire has been extinguished. And do you know what extinguishes that flame? Lust. Not just the act itself, but the endless stream of images, desires, fantasies, and false gratifications that flood your brain daily. A subtle intoxication you no longer even notice. It all starts with a simple glance, a banal gesture, a compulsive scrolling. Then, without you even realizing it, your mental capacities are exhausted. You lose focus, abandon your projects, and above all, you no longer hear the voice of the Spirit. Because your mind is saturated and blocked. It's not about morality, but a real internal war. Lust destroys not only your urges, but also your inner vision. Without vision, you can't build anything. You can't lead anything. And you lose confidence in yourself. But a miracle happens when you finally break free from it. By breaking this cycle, by cutting off the flow that nourishes the body and deprives the soul, everything begins to change. Not suddenly, but gradually. The fog clears, colors sparkle again. Time seems to stretch, conversations become clearer. You rediscover your true self, not the old fragmented one, but the one that lay dormant beneath the noise. And then ideas blossom, not recycled thoughts, but new visions, sacred projects, revelations. You understand the hidden patterns of your pain, its hidden reasons, and each point comes together to make sense of your story. Your mind doesn't just think. It sees beyond the veil. And that's not all. Your surroundings become transparent. Your true intentions are clearly revealed. You no longer allow yourself to be deceived, manipulated, or led astray. Your mind is finally awakening. You see your habits with fresh eyes. You recognize the pitfalls and hear the voice of God, no longer a distant whisper, but an omnipresent frequency that guides your every decision. That's why its clarity is terrifying. A person who sees clearly becomes dangerous to the system. They cease to depend on lust. They become seers, masters of their own destiny. In the past, seers didn't just interpret dreams. They transformed entire empires. This ability resides within them, but it has remained buried beneath years of spiritual uproar. When you stop scattering your being, your mind becomes a throne, a sanctuary where God begins to fully reign. But all this comes at a price, because clarity requires responsibility. You will recognize truths you were previously ignorant of. At times, you will feel heaviness and guilt toward the world, your environment, your relationships, and even your own thoughts. You see too clearly to turn back. Suddenly, your inner voice speaks to you. The voice you've been trying to silence has been whispering to you since childhood that you were meant for so much more. Now you not only hear it, but you believe it. Your eyes open, and what you see next invites you to embody a version of yourself you've never known. You thought you were simply resisting a craving, a habit, fighting an impulse, and controlling your body. But what if I told you you were fighting for something eternal? Every time you choose purity, every time you renounce the flesh, not only are you rejecting sin, but you are being watched by heaven, hell, and the entire spirit world. This fight is about more than your pleasure. It's about your position, your authority, your place in a larger universe. Let me explain. In the spiritual world, there is no title without a fight, no crown without a cross, no power without the death of the flesh. When a person voluntarily renounces the power of their ego, they cease to be a mere believer. They become a threat. He bears the indelible mark of a warrior incapable of succumbing to the temptations of lust, addiction, and comfort. Heaven recognizes him because he is not fooled by appearances, nor impressed by talent, charisma, or a superficial image. But when God sees a man giving himself in secret, away from prying eyes, he begins to grant him his authority. Heaven gives weight to your words, your prayers, and your silence. Suddenly, when you speak, angels move, the atmosphere changes, chains break. Why? Because you have paid the price of spiritual weight. You have given up what the world celebrates to endure what it cannot understand. Don't think that hell isn't watching you. When you live in purity, when your heart is pure and your vessel full, you recognize the demons, not with fear but with respect. They no longer attack you head-on. They orchestrate distractions, deceptions, and emotional traps because you have become too costly to confront them directly. Why? Because he sees what many men do not. You have crucified your weaknesses and carry within you an unquenchable fire. You no longer react. You no longer seek validation. You no longer give in to temptation. You live with something ancient, something sacred, a force violent in spirit, but peaceful in the present. And this doesn't come from a sermon or a self-help book. It comes from your inner struggle, from your lonely nights, from your invisible tears, from the moments when you wanted to give up but persevered. There in that silence your authority was forged in fire. No one applauded, no one saw. And now you are no longer just a human being. You are a vessel. Heaven recognizes you, hell rejects you, and earth begins to listen to you. For a man of true authority does not need to make himself known. The spiritual world already recognizes him. But listen carefully, this authority is not a trophy. It is a responsibility, a sacred burden. If you don't know how to use it, you will attract empty power, favor without the discipline to maintain it. The next step is inheritance, and in this dimension every step counts. Gota, something mysterious happens when a man controls his impulses, something invocable yet powerful, almost magnetic. It's not a matter of words, appearance, clothes, hairstyle, smile, or social status. It's a matter of inner frequency. When a man lives with his sexual energy intact, preserved and protected, he radiates an ancestral energy. Women simply don't perceive it. They feel him deeply without him saying a word. They perceive a different, stronger, unusual presence. In a world where many men are ruled by desire, a man driven by a sacred purpose is striking. He doesn't stare, doesn't chase, doesn't try to impress. He observes, he listens, and uses silence as a weapon. And this silence resonates. When a man ceases to be a slave to the flesh itself draws closer to him, not out of fear but out of fascination. After all, most women don't know spiritual men. They are surrounded by men who desire, who yearn, who lead out of need, who secretly seek validation and attention. If this message resonates with you and you feel a deep calling to awaken your inner power, don't be alone on this journey. Join our community of awakened souls by clicking subscribe. Together, we will transcend the limitations of the material world. Support this energy and share the number 99 in the comments if you feel connected to this truth. Your words are a light that illuminates this path. Always remember, you are not meant to follow the crowd. You are called to walk with authority and embody your sacred essence. Subscribe and activate the bell to receive all the videos that propel your spiritual ascension. Your transformation begins now. Welcome it.